Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. Struggling businesses, the unemployed, and the poor are a focus of an opposition politician in Jamaica. This story takes the lead in our 1036th edition of Caribbean Perspective for Tuesday, 26th January 2021. Details when we return.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the food fair from anywhere in the world and you can receive here in Grenada? The food fair and GrenadaMarket.com now make it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
Welcome back. There is a call for government to help struggling businesses, the unemployed, and the poor in Jamaica by an opposition spokesman on finance. Herman Green of TVJ News reports.
There's a call for help for members of the society facing hardship since the onset of the COVID pandemic in Jamaica last year, March. For one, the tourism sector continues to bear the brunt of the fallout and is facing further challenges with new restrictions set to come into play on Tuesday, with the United States, Canada, and the United Kingdom requiring those landing in their countries to have a negative COVID test result. Addressing a meeting of the Kiwanis Club of North St. Andrew yesterday, opposition spokesman on finance, Julian Robinson, joined the call for another stimulus package.
We need a stimulus that will jumpstart our economy, incentivize production, boost job creation, and unleash spending so that we can break through poverty and the strangling stagnation and get on a path of real and meaningful recovery.
On Wednesday, Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clark declined to say whether the government is considering another COVID-19 stimulus package. He said the initial response was due to the loss of jobs caused by the pandemic.
We will continue to assess and make decisions that are consistent with those assessments.
At Thursday's sitting of the Public Administration and Appropriations Committee, Financial Secretary Darlene Morrison noted that there is no allocation in the third supplementary estimates to finance another stimulus package. The Finance Minister responded today on the morning agenda on Power 106.
When we came out with the CARE program, we didn't come out with that CARE program having been urged by anybody or having been asked by anybody to do so. We saw what was happening and we responded, proactively. The budget will be tabled in a very short time, and it would be inappropriate at this point to speak too definitively about it because we're still in the process of putting everything together. So I don't want to, what is happening there's a bit of politics jumping the gun, in terms of the budget debate and so on, and I don't want to follow suit.
But Mr. Robinson says it would not be hard for the government to provide the stimulus package.
To fund the stimulus, the government can either go back to our international financial institutions or they could reduce what is termed the primary surplus. The primary surplus is the difference between what the government spends, what it collects in taxes, minus what we have to use for debt repayment. We currently have a primary surplus of 3.1%. And just as an example, if we reduce the primary surplus by approximately 1%, that can release about $20 billion for a stimulus package, which I believe is needed.
Herman Green, TVJ News.
Energy Minister in Trinidad and Tobago Franklin Khan warns this year the production of gas will be quite challenging. Speaking during a presentation of the Ryder Scott report, Khan said the country is sitting on fairly firm ground with respect to gas production. However, it is optimistic that BHP will develop the deep water gas reserves, which has the potential to produce 600 million cubic feet per day and 1 BCP per day and 1 BCF per day. TV6's Nisha John Mohammed reports.
We are sitting on fairly firm ground as far as the reserves position goes, On the production side, as I mentioned, and in all honesty, we'll have a challenge in 2021, but things are looking quite optimistic from 2022 and beyond.
Energy Minister Franklin Khan noted that the country is averaging just about 3.2 billion cubic feet of gas per day. He revealed that several important projects will be coming on stream at the beginning of 2022 and onwards.
On the production side, at the end of the third quarter of 2021, the Ruby project of BHP will be coming on stream. That would have a capacity of 150 million cubic feet per day. In quarter 1, 2022, BP will be commissioning its Matapal project as a Matapal platform. That has a capacity of 300 million cubic feet per day. Later in 2022, at the end of quarter 2, the Cassius C compression project will come on stream. That has an additional capacity of 300 million standard cubic feet per day.
Ryder Scott Executive Vice President Herman Acuna, who presented the Ryder Scott gas audit, said TNT's natural gas reserves have been fairly steady for the last 2 years.
In general, production share between the main operators has remained fairly constant from prior years, with BPTT having the largest amount of production at 56%, Shell at 20%, EOG 12% of that production, BHP with 10%, and we have seen, with the initiation of production from De Novo, a growth in its share to a 2% of that overall production.
He attributes the fairly steady gas reserves to deep water discoveries. Meanwhile, Khan gave an assurance of the government's commitment to ensuring that the country's resources are managed productively.
We are the custodian and we are the regulators of the natural gas industry, and we want to give the nation the commitment that we will continue to use our best effort to manage the gas resources and the energy resources for the nation in a way that will benefit all the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Nisha John Mohammed, TV6 News.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick.
In St. Lucia, are the days of Severin Monchery as Commissioner of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force numbered? The top cop is officially set to end his career in the law enforcement agency when he proceeds on pre-retirement leave scheduled for June 2021. However, sources tell HTS News Force in St. Lucia that his departure could come sooner rather than later. Here is Stanley Lucian of HTS News Force with a report.
Police Commissioner Severin Monchery is scheduled to retire from the Royal St. Lucia Police Force by the middle of the year, but according to well-placed sources, that is too long a wait for some within the government. Moves are said to be at an advanced stage to hasten the departure of Commissioner Monchery within the coming weeks. HTS News Force reached out to the Commissioner, who declined comment on the matter, but interestingly, he neither confirmed nor refuted the claim that there were moves afoot to oust him ahead of his soon-to-be retirement. In September, Monchery returned to head the force following a long leave of absence to a rather frosty welcome from the Minister for National Security, Senator Herman Gill Francis. In light of Senator Francis's assessment of the then acting Commissioner Milton Daisy's performance, he called on the returning Commissioner Monchery to step up his game.
And I just hope that we continue to do the good work that Mr. Daisy has done. Mr. Monchery is the substantive commissioner. And I know that so far he was doing what he is supposed to do. But sometimes, you know, you step out for a little while and somebody is in the show in your seat, and then that person makes you having to step up and so on. So we have to work and do our very best. And I do hope that he can come in now and continue from where Mr. Daisy left off and do maybe even better than Mr. Daisy did.
There had been reports ahead of the September 2020 return of Commissioner Moncherry of plans to have him effectively demoted to a security advisory role within the Ministry of Home Affairs and National Security. The plans were rebuffed by the commissioner, who defended his record as a top cop.
What I can say to you is that since I've been at the helm of this organization, I have done my very best. I have tried everything I could to ensure that my men perform professionally and they are very efficient, and that we work towards creating citizen safety.
Then, mere days following Daisy's departure on pre-retirement leave, he was recalled to the force on contract.
He resumed as a Deputy Commissioner of Police. He has been recalled from vacation leave.
Deputy Commissioner Milton Daisy has been the face of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force at the national broadcast on COVID-19 and recently at Wednesday's press conference on the latest development in the government's efforts to control the high rate of COVID-19 cases. Sources suggest that the commissioner has had no involvement or advanced knowledge of his deputy's role at the briefings. The history of the Royal St. Lucia Police Force is replete with dysfunctional divisions that have plagued the institution's ability to perform its primary roles of crime fighting and prevention. That was seen as something of the past. There is growing debate on the impact that the recent actions behind the scenes will have on the functioning of the force. Stanley Lucian for the HTS News Force.
Guyana's Public Accounts Committee Chairman David Patterson admitted on Wednesday last, via a letter dispatched to the media, that he has received gifts from several government agencies while serving as Minister of Public Infrastructure. He is, however, adamant that these revelations form part of a deliberate attempt to tarnish his character and derail his work as chairman of the PAC. HGP's Wendell Badri has the details.
The chairman of the Public Accounts Committee, David Patterson, while admitting that he was in receipt of gifts while serving as Minister of Public Infrastructure from various agencies under the David Granger-led administration, is also propounding the argument that such revelations are designed to tarnish and malign his character, while also stating that not only are the reports surfacing in sections of the media misleading and mischievous, but also forms part of a plot designed to seek political advantage by either embarrassment or distraction. The former minister says the plan is being orchestrated by government sympathizers within the broad spectrum of the media. Mr. Patterson declared that the practice of giving memorabilia and other gifts to ministers is not new, and that ministers from both sides of the political divide have been presented with gifts and other memorabilia on numerous special occasions. He, however, sought to vindicate himself of the accusations by stating that, and I quote, "In my case, at no time did I ever request, solicit, or influence in any way the action of any agency in relation to the presentation of gifts to me or other officials of the government. I believe it is also necessary to state that I had no prior knowledge of any decision or details relating to the purchase or presentation of gifts to anyone, including myself." End quote. Minister of Public Works Juan Edgil, who also sits on the Public Accounts Committee in the National Assembly, stated on Tuesday that he is in receipt of records from a number of agencies under his ministry showing gifts, mainly jewelry, being presented to the former minister. This newscast saw a letter dated August 19, 2016, which was dispatched to the Director General of the Civil Aviation Authority, Egbert Field, requesting the payment of $176,000 to facilitate the purchase of a gift, which was to be presented to former minister within the Ministry of Communities, Annette Ferguson, on her birthday. The letter was signed by a former personal assistant, Leon Castello, to the then minister, Ferguson. Patterson is suggesting that the allegations may be aimed at a deliberate and blatant attempt at character assassination for political purposes, which he says will not succeed in derailing his objective of overseeing the government's expenditure and procurement practices through his chairmanship of the Public Accounts Committee and representation of the Guyanese people in Parliament. The PAC chair declared that he will resist these baseless attacks from whichever quarters they may emanate, while assuring the public of his continued commitment to serving the people of Guyana without fear or favor. Wendell Badri, HGP Nightly News.
Did you know that your friends and family can now shop at the food fair from anywhere in the world, and you can receive here in Grenada? The Food Fair and GrenadaMarket.com now makes it possible through secure online shopping and personalized customer service. Simply send your loved ones a list of your preferred items or let them fill an online basket, and the items will be available for pickup or delivery. Visit GrenadaMarket.com or thefoodfair.gd today for more details. The new norm. Spread the news.
I am Eddie Frederick. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please continue to log on to CaribbeanPerspective.com for more daily news and more.